Caitlin Clark has not only proven her doubters wrong but has turned the WNBA into her personal stage. Remember when Geno Auriemma, the legendary UConn coach, dismissed Clark's potential in the league, calling her fans delusional? Well, it's time for him to eat his words. Clark has not only dominated her rookie season but has also become the first rookie in 16 years to make the All-WNBA first team, while breaking records along the way. Shattering expectations. The basketball world was holding its breath when Auriemma publicly questioned.
There were actually odds on she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP at a WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so...
Clark, a college superstar, could handle the physicality of the WNBA. He claimed that Clark's game wouldn't translate, that she wouldn't be able to handle the demands of the pro game. But instead of shrinking under the pressure, Clark took it as fuel to fire up her already impressive game. Each game, she answered with assists, points, and plays that made the doubters eat their words.
But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie.
Not a problem. Clark not only handled it but used it to her advantage, leaving her critics in disbelief as she kept racking up the stats and victories. By the end of the season, Clark had shattered records that many thought would take years to break, and she showed everyone just how wrong they were. The MVP talk. But here's where things get even more interesting. Caitlin Clark is now in the MVP conversation. Some of the odds had her ranked in the top 3 or 4 for MVP, a stunning rise for a rookie. The whispers about her not being built for the WNBA are quickly turning into shouts of admiration. The talk now isn't about her skill set being flawed, it's about how high her ceiling truly is. The Stephanie White revolution. This is where it gets even more exciting for Clark and the Fever. Under the guidance of new head coach Stephanie White, Clark is poised to elevate her game to a level that even her critics couldn't have imagined. White's
Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening.
Radically different from what we've seen before, unlocking new facets of Clark's potential that no one saw coming. White's system isn't about rigid play calling, it's about giving Clark the freedom to create. Instead of relying on predetermined plays, she empowers her players, especially Clark, to read the defense and make the right moves on the fly. This approach isn't just refreshing, it's a game changer, and it's exactly what Clark needs to take her game to new heights. Clark's already unstoppable on the court, but with White's guidance, the best is yet to come. Get ready for a whole new chapter in the WNBA, because Clark's rise is just beginning, and she's set to redefine what greatness looks like in this league. Will she shatter more records? Will she claim the MVP? One thing's for sure, this young star is just getting started. Caitlin Clark is not just thriving in the WNBA, she's rewriting the narrative.
She has taken every bar set for her and gone over it, and that is ridiculously impressive. Caitlin Clark is making a lot of people look silly thinking that it would have taken more time than this, and instead she is right where she was supposed to be and then some.
And cementing her place among the league's elite. From doubters to admirers, everyone is taking notice, and for good reason. A historic rookie campaign. Clark's rookie season is the stuff of legends. Averaging a jaw-dropping 62 points in a single game, yes, you read that right, she's making her mark in ways that feel almost unreal. The adjustment to the pro level, often a stumbling block for rookies, has been seamless for Clark. Her court vision, playmaking ability, and knack for delivering under pressure have left defenders.
So I also want our players to use their instincts and to play free. We want to make plays, not run plays, right? We want to have sets that give us certain spacing that we want, depending upon our rotations, who's on the floor, who we want to attack, what matchups we want to get to, how can we manipulate them.
When critics said her game wouldn't translate to the WNBA, even Diana Taurasi once suggested Clark was in for a rude awakening. Now, those voices are silent. Clark isn't just surviving, she's dominating, forcing veterans to look over their shoulders and coaches to overhaul their defensive schemes. Unprecedented accolades. As the season closes, Clark is collecting accolades like trophies in a video game. Rookie of the Year?
So we'll have certain play calls that just give us space to operate, and then whichever play we make, whichever pass we make, determines, one of 3 actions that our players can read from. And so really giving them the freedom to play within a system, to get to the matchups and really challenging them to find the matchups, the reads, the shots that we want.
But Clark didn't stop there. She's achieved what hasn't been done in 16 years, becoming the first rookie since Candace Parker to make the All-WNBA first team. Let that sink in. In a league brimming with elite talent, Clark has been recognized as one of the top 5 players in her debut season. This achievement isn't just historic, it's transformative. It sends a clear message to everyone.
What's your approach when you're coaching greatness like that?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, just talking basketball, right? Just having general basketball conversations about what she's watching, what she likes, what are some of the things what are some of her thoughts from, not just what the Indiana Fever have done, but from the game of basketball in general.
Every critic, Caitlin Clark was built for this. She's not only meeting expectations, she's obliterating them. The Stephanie White factor. Enter Stephanie White, the Indiana Fever's visionary head coach. White sees Clark's brilliance not just as a culmination but as a beginning. We want to make plays, not run plays, White says. It's a philosophy designed.
Not one of those coaches that is going to be set in her ways. Not one of those coaches that isn't, I'm willing to try new things.
Giving her the freedom to unleash her creativity within a structured system. This approach, rooted in instinct and adaptability, aligns perfectly with Clark's strengths. White emphasizes spacing, rotations, and strategic matchups while encouraging her players to trust their instincts. For Clark, this means unlocking even more.
Now, when you get a generational player, and I know she's played 1 year and she's 22 years old, and Caitlin, but she's, I've coached Michael Jordan, I coached Isaiah, I coached Dominique Wilkins. And then with the Dream Team, we had all of them.
Right.
She's of that caliber in the women's game, which is of the highest quality. I love the women's.
Of her already dominant game. A partnership to watch. White and Clark are shaping a basketball revolution. With Clark's unparalleled talent and White's innovative coaching, the Fever are poised to become a powerhouse. We want to build something lasting, White says, hinting at ambitions far beyond one successful season. Clark is already making history, but under White's guidance, she's set to push the boundaries of what's possible in the WNBA. This isn't just a standout rookie season, it's the start of something extraordinary. Are you ready to witness Caitlin Clark's evolution into a generational force? Because the best is yet to come. Caitlin Clark is rewriting the playbook under the guidance of Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White. Together, they're elevating her game to new heights, blending creativity and discipline in a way that has the entire WNBA buzzing. White's coaching philosophy is as refreshing as it is innovative. She's giving Clark the freedom to create within a structured system, handing her the keys to a high-performance offense. White explains, we'll have certain play calls that give us space to operate. The actions will flow naturally from the play.
She has a little bit more of that. Oh, I like that. Caitlin Clark shot stepping to her right. And I like that again. So a pull-up midi and a shot stepping to her right. And I actually like it because when she's shooting to her right, she's not bringing the ball over this side. Because we know with the deep threes, like a lot of the time you have to bring the ball from somewhere. And like she brings it over this side of her head to kind of get a little bit of more power in the arms. And she'll do that with a jump shot. But I like the way on her right side, she doesn't look as comfortable shooting, as uncomfortable shooting to her right as she did last season.
To read the matchups and take the shots we want. This freedom is tailor-made for Clark, whose basketball IQ and instinct for the game make her a perfect fit for this approach. Clark is thriving in this collaborative dynamic. White listens to her star, engaging in genuine basketball conversations about strategy and vision. I'm not one of those coaches set in her ways, White says. I'm willing to adapt and try new things. This mutual respect and open communication are unlocking Clark's potential in unprecedented ways. In leaked training footage, White is seen working closely with Clark, focusing on fine-tuning her mechanics and expanding her arsenal.
So obviously when you've got your head coach leading the individual player workouts, I like that. Because obviously Stephanie White was a player, pretty damn good player. But for me, I think it's a big thing with when it comes to Stephanie White, is that that there's a level of respect.
Areas of emphasis include off-foot layups, developing finishes with her non-dominant foot to add unpredictability to her drives, a skill rare in American players. Ambidextrous scoring, mastering both hands for seamless execution from any angle. Clark's right-handed moves are catching up to her already lethal left, making her virtually impossible to guard.
She could work out with whatever coach she wants, and she's choosing to work out with the Indiana Fever coaches. Guarantee you she would not be choosing to work out if Christy Sides was still there. So that's obviously the level of coach that she is, that Caitlin Clark's actually choosing to work out with her team for individual work.
Her pull-up jumpers and mid-range shots, particularly when stepping to her right. White's hands-on approach, unusual for a head coach, is pivotal. She's guiding Clark rep by rep, helping her build muscle memory and sharpen every facet of her game. White's experience as a former elite player adds credibility and trust, creating a bond that amplifies their effectiveness. For Clark,
and obviously it's just her with some assistant coaches. I'm surprised there are not more players like kind of almost in these workouts, but they're probably doing a lot of workouts with individual players.
It's transformation. With White's mentorship, she's not only becoming more versatile but also unlocking a creative edge that sets her apart. Imagine trying to guard a player who can seamlessly execute floaters, pull-up jumpers, and ambidextrous finishes while reading the game in real time. White isn't shy about her ambitions for the Fever. Our goal isn't just playoffs, it's championships, she declares. With a core trio of Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston, the Fever are building a foundation that could define a dynasty. Caitlin Clark has already proven herself as a generational talent, and under White's guidance, she's evolving into a complete player who can dominate on any stage. This partnership is setting the stage for a revolution in the WNBA, and fans have front-row seats to witness history in the making. The question isn't if Clark and White will leave their mark, it's how big that mark will be. Are you ready for the next chapter? Caitlin,
think about teams, you think about a core three, right? You think about a big three, and to be able to work with that big three, and continue to work and put pieces around them to compete for a championship, back in my home state, it couldn't have aligned any better.
And her partnership with head coach Stephanie White is proving to be a game changer for the Indiana Fever. Clark's refinement of her shooting mechanics, especially her floaters and mid-range game, is a testament to her relentless drive to improve. Whether it's perfecting the high-arcing floater or fine-tuning her shooting on the move, every shot reflects hours of deliberate practice. What sets this apart? White's hands-on coaching. Unlike most head coaches who oversee from the sidelines, White is in the trenches, guiding Clark through drills, offering instant feedback, and demonstrating movements herself. A former player with elite credentials, White brings unparalleled experience, earning Clark's trust and respect. Clark's decision to train with the Fever's coaching staff speaks volumes. With White leading individual player development, Clark's game is reaching new heights. This unique mentorship is not just about perfecting plays, it's about building an unstoppable player. The Fever have already broken an 8-year playoff drought, but White has her sights set higher. Our goal isn't just playoffs, it's championships and...
The future is so bright, and our ultimate goal is to hang another banner in the field house.
Banners, White declares. With Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston forming a formidable core, the Fever are shaping up as contenders to watch. Clark's growth under White's tutelage could redefine what's possible in the WNBA. As Clark hones her skills, the Fever's rise from playoff hopefuls to title contenders feels inevitable. The basketball world is watching, and with good reason. Clark and White's partnership is
to use their instincts and to play free. We want to make plays, not run plays, right? We want to have sets that give us certain spacing that we want depending upon our rotations, who's on the floor.
Excellence. Are you ready to witness the next chapter in WNBA history? Stephanie White is back in her home state, and she's not just talking playoffs, she's talking championships. Not just one, but a whole dynasty. White's vision revolves around a powerful core trio, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston. With this lineup, the Indiana Fever are no longer an afterthought, they're shaping up to be a serious contender. Sure, the Fever finished last season with a 20-20 record, barely making the playoffs. But that's a huge leap from where they were. Can they really stand toe-to-toe with the WNBA's elite?
We have seen in this league's history, how difficult it is to win a championship. The margin for error is small. When you're building teams, it's not about always just getting the best players. It's about getting the best complement of players who fit well together, who play well with one another, who work to bring the best out in one another. I believe truly in my heart that connected teams are winning teams. And so players who fit the culture of the Indiana Fever and where we are and where we're moving towards.
Not just run plays, White explains. Her coaching philosophy is all about creating freedom and confidence within a structured system. She's not just coaching players, she's developing leaders. And with Caitlin Clark emerging as the face of the franchise, it's like watching the birth of a new era right before our eyes. Experts are starting to take notice. Some are saying the Fever could rise from underdogs to title contenders faster than anyone imagined. It's happened before in the WNBA, and with White's leadership, it could happen again. White's vision isn't just about the next season, it's about building a lasting legacy. Our goal is to win championships.